Hey, this is Victor. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so in today's video, I wanted to talk to you about everything you need to do to make sure that you do not lose SEO ranking when redesigning your website. We've redesigned about like 200 or 300 websites, and one thing that we're very good at is like not screwing up SEO ranking, especially if you already have good existing SEO ranking. Now, the problem I've found with this is most people either worry about this way too much or they are completely oblivious to this and don't really even know, kind of what the implications are with what they're doing. And so in this quick video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to do to make sure that you know exactly what your current SEO rankings are and to make sure you don't screw anything up when redesigning your website and hopefully even improve your SEO ranking when redesigning your site. Another thing I should note is like this would apply for any kind of website. So it doesn't matter like what the existing CMS is that you're using. If you're transferring from one CMS to the other, that really shouldn't affect your SEO as long as you do the things recommended in this video. We are going to be talking about WordPress, but there are workarounds for everything, and you'll be able to do the same advice pretty much for any kind of website. So let's watch. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you just want to make sure that you know where you are with your site. So the first step to kind of when you're doing a website redesign is to get an inventory of a couple things. So number one, what's your current website ranking? Like, how are you doing? What's an inventory of your pages? And then even before you do all of that, you just want to make sure that you kind of even have the basics going, right? To make sure that you could even measure your results before and after. So first thing is, like, if you don't have Google Analytics running on your site, put Google Analytics on your site. Like, thing number one. Like, so I'm not going to show you how to do that. There's plenty of tutorials on that. I might shoot one myself, but put Google Analytics on your site. Same thing with Google Search Console. I will do a separate video on Google Search Console on the ins and outs of installing it and configuring it. But there's plenty out there. Just make sure that you have Google Search Console. Just go to Google, type it in, you'll figure it out. But add that to the site. So very, very important. Make sure that you have kind of those things running on the site so that you have an accurate baseline for like, hey, this is what I'm actually doing. This is what the previous site was doing. This was my bounce rate. These were the keywords I was getting, etc. And you can know that. So thing number one, please do that. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is just take an inventory of all the pages on your site. So here's how we do that. So we use Google Sheets, and what we'll do is we'll just take a website and we'll put their sitemap on a spreadsheet. We'll do top level, second level, third level. And the way we have this set up here, top level just means like the links. Well, this isn't a good example, but the links along the top here, right? See these top level, and then second level is anytime you hover and click on something, that would be this second level here, and third level is sometimes there's even a third level, and that's that. Okay, and so the first thing that we will do is we will just take an inventory of the pages of the site. And as you can see here, this is like a good example because this was like an older website. Every thing ended with like .html, and it had kind of a funky older URL structure, which people don't use anymore. And so we needed to take inventory and make sure, okay, we've got all of these URLs. These are the URLs for the site. And we need to make sure that when we create the new site, that we will map over the previous URLs to the new URLs. And I'll explain about how to do that as we go through this video, but just kind of step one is taking an inventory, make sure you know what the current URLs, how do you know what the current URLs of your site are? Well, we can go to our good friend google.com, and if you just type in site : and then yoururl.com, so just that, and hit enter, they will do an index of all the pages of your site. And so sometimes there'll be a lot of like funky extra stuff that you didn't know that you didn't need. A lot of times when we'll work with clients, we'll see like they have like their past 2 iterations of their site kind of buried in there. They'll have kind of totally useless pages that they don't need, old login stuff, like old third-party stuff, tons of PDFs, etc. And so it's worth kind of diving in through here and seeing what you might not need all of this for the redesign. And my advice is don't get too caught up in this. Like, you don't want to pull everything, especially the stuff that you're not going to use. You just want to get a sense of like, what are the pages, especially the main front-facing pages, that are visible. right? So that's going to be step one, is like, what are those pages? And then just making sure that we know what the URLs of those pages are and listing them out. The next thing you want to do is use a tool called Ahrefs or some similar tool where you can get a sense of what the current backlink profile is, where your link's coming from, that type of thing. So the main thing with SEO is it's mostly kind of your backlinks, right? People coming to the site. And the way you screw that up is if you break links. So broken links equals you're going to lose SEO. If you don't break the links, you're not going to lose SEO. So what you want to, the first thing you need to do is, not all backlinks are the same. Not all pages have backlinks to them. And so what you want to do is look here under your backlinks and go here under domain rank. And you want to find the pages that are the websites that are giving you the highest authority or domain ranking backlinks. And this is throwing me off. There used to be here in the report, maybe I just need to update it, where it tells you if this is a do follow link or not. You really only want to worry about the do follow links and not the, well, I mean, the no follow links are very important too, especially if they're coming, from like a Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a no follow link, but it's super important and you'll get a ton of authority by having one. But like this PR website, it's nice, it's a 90, but it's a no follow link, right? So you just want to make sure that you go, okay, here are all the links. What you should do is click on top pages, and this will show you the pages that are getting the most kind of traffic. And it's not just traffic, it's like relevant traffic, and it's like that are indexed with keywords. And so what you can do here, let me just do this, is then you can copy this URL. Let's copy link address, and you could go into the specific pages that you want to make sure that you have backlinks for. And we could go here, back to overview, and then we could see the backlinks for just this particular page, right? And what you'll find is only a few pages really get a ton of backlinks. And frankly, when this whole SEO thing, like, it's all 80-20. It's like only a few pages on your site are probably bringing you all the traffic, right? So you really want to make sure that those pages are the ones you pay the most attention to. You really get the backlinks for those aren't broken. I mean, you want to make all the backlinks work, and I'll explain how to do that, no problem. But those in particular, you really want to spend excessive focus on your home page and whatever the key landing pages are that are bringing you all the traffic, right? So make sure that these links, and it'll show you, okay, you're getting links from these places, make sure they're not broken. And I'll explain how to not break them, but long story short is make sure you either keep the URL structure exactly the same, or that you set up 301 redirects for all of them, right? That's the key. But kind of backing up here a little bit more, the point is with all of this is, if you're not ranking for anything, then don't worry about this too much, right? If you have a domain rank of 0 and no backlinks, then it doesn't actually matter, and don't worry. Right? That's kind of my advice there. It really doesn't. So it only matters if you're getting good keywords and if you have a bunch of backlinks and you have a bunch of keywords. So that's thing number one. Also, once we're here, this is probably most important, so I should mention that now, is find out what you're ranking for. What are the keywords that you're actually ranking for? If you have Google Search Console, they will tell you too, and it's free. But if you don't, they will tell you. And this will tell you, here are the keywords that you're actually ranking for, and you want to kind of protect those and make sure that you don't mess those up, right? And again, we'll go through this and explain how to do it. And the one is just make sure the link is not broken. Okay, so that's kind of the before unit for this, is you want to make sure that you know what the links are. You want to make sure you know what you're ranking for, and you want to you want to know what your link structure is. You want to know what you're ranking for, and you want to know who's linking to you. That's kind of like your before. So then let me share with you kind of the next step in the process. So what you'll do is, when you redesign the site, you will in all likelihood create a new sitemap. So a sitemap, again, is just like the pages of the site and how they all relate to each other. Good Lord. Let me just get this here. All right. Boom. All right, and so what this will do So this is going to be like what we do is we do the new sitemap. So the page structure might change. You might change how the pages are related. You might add new pages. You might delete pages. You might move pages around. And this is the place where you would do that so that you would know that all the pages here are accounted for. And then what we would do is we would make sure that we understand the URL structure for this. Actually, this page source, don't worry about there. This is kind of overachiever stuff, which I'll mention later. But this is where the new structure will come in. So you want to make sure that you have your current structure, which is here, as well as the new structure, which is here. And so once you know what your new structure is, the way we do it, we design the site and then we develop the site like on a test site. And so in this example here, this is a site that we're in the middle of doing. This is their current site right now. And so this is the site that we're redesigning for them. And so this is on a test server. This is a test URL. Only the client has access to it, but it's a live website. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that the URL string matches exactly the current site. And that's how you can not screw up SEO. That's a great way to do it. So for example, if we look at, I think it's use cases, right? And we look at their different use cases. So this is execute contracts in this particular instance. You see the URL structure is tmail.com/use-cases/execute-contract. That's their URL string. And so in order to maintain SEO, we want to make sure that the URL string is exactly the same. So use-cases/execute-contract, use-cases/execute-contract. And if you just do that, it saves yourself a ton of trouble so that when the new site launches, you don't have to worry about broken links, because you have the link covered and it's the exact same URL structure. Anyone who was linking to you before, you're using that same structure, and it just kind of saves a bunch of hassle, right? So that's thing number one. As much as possible, keep your URL structure the same. Now, sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes in this example here, they have that old funky .html, and we're not going to keep that. So what do? So the first thing that you do is within WordPress, and we do only custom WordPress websites, so I'm going to talk mostly about WordPress here, is we install a plugin called Redirection. So if you just go to Google and type in WordPress plugin Redirection, you should find it. And I think this is the plugin that we use. And so once it's installed, you go to plugins, add new, type in redirection, you'll find it. Once it's installed, you go to tools and redirection. And what this will allow you to do is it will allow you to set up redirects for all of the previous pages. So for example here, and here's a pro tip. So imagine we're on this test server. This is not the correct URL, right? You don't want to have to then, when you update the site, manually change this. So all you need to do is add the appendage, everything after the .com or .net or whatever. You start with the /, and everything afterwards would go here under redirection. And so the source URL is the old one, and the target URL is the new one. Okay, and then make sure that this is all filled out. I think there's like a checkbox when you add new. Make sure that's checked and that you click save. And this will save it as a 301 redirect. And Google has announced there's all been kind of things in the past, and it's conjecture, but for the most part, you get the exact same credit as a 301 redirect link as a regular link. That's what their, I think, official statement is. And I've done a bunch of 301 redirects. I've never noticed anything bad. In fact, I completely restructured my blog with 301 redirects and actually improved my blog ranking. So I have not experienced adverse effects. But anyway, what you do is you tediously go through this sitemap here, and you update all of the previous URLs with the new URLs here through this redirection plugin. And then another thing I like to do is there's a plugin, where is it? Yeah, it's the Link Juice Keeper plugin. And so what this will do is it will just keep it from ever having any broken links no matter what. And so what will happen is, like, if you go to a site and you just type in a wrong URL, it will take you to some kind of error page, and it'll say, looks like this isn't working, and in the eyes of Google it'll count as a broken link. But what you can do is you can install this Link Juice Keeper plugin, and what will happen is, let's go to this Clean Tech Law site. If I type in a wrong URL here, it just goes back to the homepage. And it doesn't give you a broken link in the eyes of Google. It's just a 301 redirect back to your homepage, and you get to keep that link juice. So for whatever reason you missed something, or someone for whatever reason is still linking to your old site anew, you have the ability to keep that link juice and not break that. So that's going to help you out a ton. Okay. So that's that in kind of in terms of URL structure and link juicing, in terms of like your past site to the new site. So then let's talk about kind of your title tags, your meta description from the old site to the new site. So my general rule with SEO is like, don't mess with success, right? So if you're already ranking for something and you just don't want to screw that up, then keep everything the same. So let me explain what that means. So basically, your particular page, like any page on your site, has a title tag and meta description. So if we look here at the current site here, the title tag is Deep Collaboration for Teams, which may or may not be a great keyword. I doubt people are looking for that as a keyword, and that's going to be the most relevant one. We haven't done SEO tagging for this site yet. But what you want to do is, like, if you, going back to Ahrefs, if you rank well for a particular page, you're like, oh, that's my money page, I'm getting all kinds of things for that page, then you don't want to screw it up. You want to keep the title tag and meta description for that page the same. So the way you find the title tag and meta description, well, there's a couple ways to do it. So you can literally just hover here. If you see me hovering on any of these things on the tab, you'll see that this is the title tag for this particular site. Clean Law Partner, Renewable Energy Law Firm, Clean Energy Law, right? So that's their title tag. The meta description you can find in Google. So if you were to do like a site search, cleantechlaw.com, you'll see here Clean Tech Law. Yeah, this is it. And then this is their meta description right here. So this is their existing title tag and existing meta description, right? And so then what you could do is you could just add it to a Google Sheet. So the focus keyword is the keyword that you're trying to rank for. The title tag is the blue thing, right? Or purple if it's been linked on or clicked on. And then the meta description is the text underneath, right? And so those are the things that you want to cover. So again, if you already have success, if you're already winning, then just keep them the same, right? And you could do that within the spreadsheet. What's your title tag? What's your meta description? And then when you add it to the new site, add it there. So I like using the Yoast SEO plugin. This is kind of like the gold standard for WordPress. It's so easy and I couldn't recommend it enough. And so once you install it on your WordPress site, like I'm on the back end of this Clean Tech Law, this is like the home page here. And if we see here, like you can choose the title tag, the meta description, you just literally just type it in here and you click update and you're good to go. And so that's how you would update your title tag and meta description, is you would just keep that the same. Then there's like the rest of the on-page stuff. So, and you would systematically do that through all the pages of your site, especially for the ones you're already ranking for. This is for stuff that you're already ranking for. If certain pages, which is usually what happens, like you're not ranking for it anyway, then what you want to do is find an appropriate keyword for that page. That's kind of outside the scope of this, but you want to do keyword research, you want to find the right page, you want to tag it, etc. for all the pages on your site, especially the ones you're not already ranking for. But then let's talk about the rest of the on-page stuff. So again, if you're already ranking well, and especially if it's like a blog post or a landing page, like an SEO type landing page, you want to keep the content as much as possible the same. You want to keep the content length the same, the links the same, the internal links the same. You really want to keep those as much as possible the same. And that's because, why mess with success if you're already ranking for something? Go for that. Once the site's going over and you know that your ranking has been maintained, for sure you can do stuff to tweak it and improve it. But when we're in the middle of a redesign, that's not the time to test stuff. It's better just to keep it the same and then after the fact, upgrade it. So that's that in terms of your on-page stuff. And so, you can go through the site and you can see like if there's an alt tag on the image, you can inspect and see, hey, what's the alt tag for this particular image? That's just like a keyword that you would assign to a particular particular image, what are the links, etc. Just keep it the same as much as possible. That's my advice there. And let's see, just the final thing. So then you have your site, you're ready to go. You've kept all the URL structures the same. You kept the metadata and descriptions the same. And you're about to launch the site, or you do launch the site. Here's a couple things also that you want to do, especially you have a WordPress website, you're using the Yoast SEO plugin. It's going to automatically send that to Google. You're good to go. So here's a mistake I see a lot of people do. I did this once upon a time years ago, and it's horrible. So when you launch, make sure you go to WordPress. You go to Settings, Reading. You'd be surprised how many times this has happened to people. And by default, when you're doing a test site, this will be checked. This will say discourage search engines from indexing the site. And so this will discourage search engines from indexing your site, which is not what you want to have happen. And so as soon as you launch, you want to uncheck this. Make sure this is unchecked and click Save so that Google is allowed to search your site, because you don't want to do all this work and then shoot yourself in the foot and not have this checked. So those are the big chunks. Those are the big things you want to think about when redesigning your site to keep your SEO ranking. Again, you just want to keep what you have. If you're not ranking, it doesn't matter, especially for those particular pages. So hopefully that makes sense and you found some value from this. If you did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.